They are not easy, especially, well, it depends, probably part of the world where you photograph them. Even in Ireland, you can find places that they are quite easy to approach, especially on the mountain trails. Some of them, they just got used to people, and they accepting people from certain distance. But in overall, deer are extremely demanding in terms of preparation, in terms of what you need, what you have to focus, what you have to control, uh, to just not spook them. Like the because they they use sense of smell. They use eyes. They have great eyesight. Hearing is great as well. So it's few senses they use in the same time, and is I believe, like, it's like, if we're talking about wildlife photography, uh, most photographers are focused on birds, and which I'm not. Well, I'm a bird photographer as well, but is I find it's way harder to photograph mammals, and especially deer. Uh, uh, that you need like camouflage. You need to check where the wind direction. You need to know as well where the deer like have feeding grounds, where what time of the in the morning or late afternoon they coming out for feeding grounds. So, and any changes of the wind, they cycle around, and they getting notification that you are somewhere around, and it's so easy that it may be a second and they gone, like, because like the they not accepting people around on those kind of places. To get deer relax completely and do the things, I think, is the most prized moments for photographer. And I had that moments many times that I watched like 2-3 hours or even more until very dark, especially the evening time, when they were like feeding on the grass somewhere, like, and like calves were like milking mothers, and like, and they were relaxed. You could see a relation between deer in the group, in the harem, like between females, between the stacks as well. You could see care here as well as in the female groups, and in the stack groups. And this kind of moments are very, it's not easy to achieve that. Definitely, like new technology like mirrorless technology and silent shooters helps a lot in the deer photography, especially because before, with DSLR, we've been waiting for the moment. Everything was fine, everything was perfect, wind, so on. But the moment when you decide to take pictures, uh, quite often was the very last moment when you see the deer actually, because they were straight alerted with the sound. And many times, well, happened in the past, like, even if I made everything right, somehow they heard, the click, even the single click of the DSLR camera. These days, with silent shooting, if you prepare well, you can actually observe them freely, without disturbing them for a long time. So it's great. Like, it's great that this technology has been brought to photo, to cameras. And yeah, it's one of the reason I moved from DSLR to mirrorless, just for this feature itself, that I can take in picture completely silent. They are my favorite subject to photograph anyway, no matter what. And my photography start actually from deer watching like 20. I don't know. I think deer watching about nearly 30 years ago. Like so, I was 10 when I start deer watching, and it starts from I found casted antlers from a red deer, and I had a friend which was looking for them as well, and he introduced me actually to deer. And from this very moment, I was interested about deer in my area. At this time, I used to live in northeast Poland, and this is area where 70% of the land is forest, and the rest is lakes and rivers. Very natural area, and lots of deer, red deer, and moose as well. And from that day, I was spending every like deer route watching deer every year. Uh, I was watching during the outside the deer route as well, like especially the springtime and the winter when they gather in the bigger groups. So it was easier to track them, or like on the snow when the fresh snow fall. So that was like 27 years ago, and I think like 7 years later I got my first camera. So that was 2004, and one of the very first subject was actually red deer I photographed. And I think I didn't miss any deer route since then. So last 20 years basically. But like you asked me about how much time I'm spending during the year. uh, this time I like mostly focus on the deer route, and May and June when the calves are calving season as well, is time when I trying to photograph like calves feeding with mothers, and this very moment. And when is I looking for a weather condition as well, like heavy snow or storms, then I'm going to mountains when I can trying to photograph the deer in this kind of condition, which are not usual in part of Ireland where I live. It's very little snow during the winter. Only in the mountains sometimes we have a few days snow. So when it's freezing temperature and snow, I trying to go at least few times during the winter to photograph them. So yeah, like it's if I look my files in my computer, is probably half of them there will be deer photography. There are some moments where I saw without camera, which I never been able to photograph. In example, like in example, stacks shedding their antlers and they are antlerless, and they still setting the hierarchy in the group, and usually they standing on the back legs and the boxing each other, right? Yeah. And I wish to photograph this moment. I seen many times but that was back years when I wasn't photographing, and so this moment I wish to photograph, and hoping that maybe happen. Uh, like from other perspective during the reed route, the deer route, sorry, in my area, like you probably noticed, like many of the photographs are over the water, over the lake. Yeah, and I looking forward. Well, my dream photo is like fight of the stacks in the water, uh, which I've seen from the very distance. I've seen that, yeah, like it's happened, but it was too far away for to photograph for me. And like few times there was a situation like two major stack was very close, to actually start the fight. They were walking parallel to each other, and I thought that will be that moment, but they just, one of them gave up, and they just, went on way. So yeah, it's that's my probably dream photo to take. And in general, like, fight during the route is not that easy as well to witness. And it's probably the most spectacular view. Like, you see the power of those animals. You see, like, how much energy they're using, and how dangerous it is for them. So I'm talking about red deer, like probably like about roe deer is not maybe as spectacular as a red deer, but it's still like, like they can be hurt, they can be even they can die in this fight. So yeah, like, there's definitely like mating season for any of the species of the deer. I was watching roe deer in Poland as well many times, and each of the deer species, they have own kind of interesting behavior during the mating season. So it's probably that's why, like, probably most of the photographers only focus on that time to photograph them, and I'm not surprised. It's the most spectacular. Wherever I have a time, and the weather conditions are giving me some hope, like that, that will be a good moment to go to certain place and try, achieve what I have in my mind. Oh, other photograph I thinking, like, and I hoping to execute this year is a deer on the hill, and with the full moon rising above the hill. I tried that last year. Well, I couldn't find deer, unfortunately, in the good moment. I maybe been late about 10-15 minutes, because the deer actually were present when I was hoping for, but I just couldn't manage the proper angle to execute that shot. But yeah, it's something like I want to try. That was very dangerous for that particular stack as well, because he was disorientated. He didn't know, he didn't see properly where he goes, and still, like, for a stag being full of testosterone, looking for mate, being a potential target to other stag, to be attacked by other stag, and not properly respond for the other stag, could be very, very, danger. Fortunately, 3 days later, after this photo, I saw this stag. I recognized him by the antlers, and he cleared out the plastic from the antlers. So I was happy to see, actually, that he cleared out the whole lot from his antlers. But yeah, like, the moment, I'm not sure if you're gonna show the video, but the moment he was approaching us, and he then went kind of like parallel to us, and then he disappeared like 500 meters away to the left, and that was probably about 2-3 minutes observation when he's crossing, and he was, like, turning around, but actually I could see in my viewfinder that he's completely blind, like he doesn't see anything, I'm kind of photographer which I'm not really chasing the species itself, like, like, I'm not travel far away to get specific species. uh, I'm focusing mostly about local wildlife. Probably 95% of my photographs, they are taken within like 45 minutes drive where from the place I live, and most of them are probably like, quite short distance. I just finding like it's much more rewarding when you know actually your local area, and you can see what kind of wildlife living there, and what how changing as well, how some activities might impact as well local wildlife. I think is actually that's my approach actually, like that I'm not travel to get specific species. Well, I used to like probably most of us, but at the moment with the time I have, to spend, to dedicate to wildlife, I just focus on the local wildlife. And the last 3-4 years, uh, mustelid families, which is like badgers, pine marters, otters. That was my main subject. I spent lots of time, trying to photograph them. They are very demanding as well. Especially, I found otters was, I think it was the hardest for me. And yeah, that's why I was doing like the last couple of years as a break from the deer photography. Of course, I'm doing because I live close to the coast, so wintering birds is my subject to photograph as well. Over the coast, we have a few. I have a few good places here in the close to the over the Atlantic Ocean. But that's everything is local, like so. In terms of if any specific species I wish to photograph, it's probably if I notice something in the area, or if I get opportunity, then I focusing on that subject. So I used to do red squirrels project over the winter. Is red squirrels are not that common in this part of Ireland where I live. They're kind of recovering. Population is recovering, so what was great to actually see and photograph few red squirrels. And that's, I usually picking one or two subjects over the few months, like which I checking, like I setting up wildlife cameras, just tracking them, checking activities, then trying to photograph. If I'm unlucky, I'm just changing wherever I went wrong, and thinking like how to change, how to achieve what I'm planning. But yeah, it's mostly local wildlife. First, study the subject, like know the place what you want to photograph, specific subject. If it's deer, just spend few weeks, or at least few days, few mornings and few evenings, to see where deer are present, or where other animals are present. If they are present there, look for some signs, for the tracks, for some activities. Then, if you see deer in a specific area, check how the light, where the sun is, the sun, when the sunrise, from what direction comes, when it's sunset, where the light is. Try to visualize where you might waiting for the deer, and how the scene will be looking, how the scene will looks like in that very moment. And if you recognize the place, if you recognize like, okay, every evening deer showing up in this specific place, or every morning wherever you're passing and you see deer in the field, or this part of the forest, or depends where you live, uh, just okay, then you can use, because like deer and other animals, they're quite, their behavior is quite repetitive. So if they feel safe in their area, they more likely will repeat the same uh, again next day and again next day. Because if you see a few days in a row that deer are present in the same area, that means that it's very important for them, probably for because of feeding grounds, or it's mostly like they're looking for food. It's like deer, they always looking for food and safe place to actually graze the grass, or something else. So once you set it up, once you know everything, then the preparation is like I always, most of my photographs are taken from, like that, setting like temporary height, like camouflage net, uh, to just break the silhouette of human. And because probably like, even if you are well camouflage, you can have camouflage gear, is still many times not enough. Like if the deer actually see the human posture, human silhouette. So it's very important to break it, like or sit down close to the tree, or uh, somewhere in the bush. Ideally, have some camouflage net as well, and be in the place at least 2-3 hours before deer appear there, just to be quiet for an hour or two before you are expecting to deer might appear. And then just be patient, check the wind, like we said before. Like, it's very important for deer photography. So wind has to blow your direction. It's very handy, like I using baby powder in example. Just, I squish the baby powder, and I see you can check actually where the powder goes, and you basically have to be against the wind. So wind has to blow your direction, and that's the perfect scenario. That if you're expecting deer comes in front of you and wind is your direction, it's more likely they're not gonna sense you. And then well, it's, of course, you have to, the place you're choosing for a photograph, you have to think as well in the back of your head how you're gonna uh, get out after sunset, or when it will be dark, or after a few hours when the deer will still be there. So it's sometimes quite difficult to actually be, because you might watch them and they might stay in the area for hours. So you have to have a plan how to silently get out from the place, because next time they will be aware, like if you want to come over, and they will be aware that somebody was there and there might be danger, so they will be more shy. But yeah, like I was the most successful with this kind of scenario, that I was planning that, I was checking the wind. And like many times, unfortunately, wind change during my setup. Even if I check wind on the place when I was already there, uh, in the forecast on the app, like what you call windy, in example, the wind's supposed to be still from this direction, but that changed somehow. And like everything has been deer never show up, because that's how that's happening is quite often. So uh, don't try, like I know, like many people, especially like in Ireland as well, and even in Killarney National Park, there is parts of Killarney National Park where deer are quite approachable from the specific places that they just got used to, that people are on the walking paths, and they are accepting people from the, I don't know, distance like 100 yards, 150 yards. And what many photographers make a mistake, they're trying to get into the field or get into the woods and get closer to the deer. And unfortunately, is very risky, and most of the occasion you're gonna just scare deer. It's not worth it. It's much more important to actually wait patiently and get actually deer coming to you, then you will be more successful. But never try to chase deer, never try to get closer, walk after deer, because they are animals like they really shy in from the nature, because there is a hunting, that they are like game animals. So like uh, they know like human can be dangerous. And even those places, like probably like, I don't know, in UK there is very few, quite a lot places like, I don't know, Phoenix Park, no, sorry, Richmond Park, Bushy Park, which maybe you can call that deer might tamed or something, but they are still wild animals, and they still have some, you have to have respect to them, especially during the route. So just be mindful. Like if you are in the places, like they are very remote places, like when the deer are very shy, those things what I mentioned, they are very important. Like especially wind, being well camouflaged, being quiet, and being patient, like in the place, because otherwise you won't be successful. I photograph deer in many countries, mostly in Poland as well, and when I see many similarities in terms of like deer in Ireland and in the one in Poland, but in general, the more deer are um, the places where the deer are subject to being shot, killed by hunters, and the places where you have wolves and lynx and bears, they are very extremely shy, and if you try to photograph them, it's very challenging. And if you not like prepare yourself, and if you not control those things I mentioned before, you not achieve success. Like you won't take any picture. Raw deer are like I said, they're repeating the behavior every day, and I've seen many times, like even I driving my car and I see raw deer, like a book and female, like came out from the forest, and feeding just on the fields. And next day, the same time, I'm passing that place and I see them again. So if you put those puzzles together, and you plan, you might be quite successful, with raw deer. I find like raw deer, I don't have many shots of raw deer, because like I live in Ireland for the last 17 years, and when I photograph raw deer is only when I am during the summertime for holiday. So I took some. I was successful a few times, but it was the same approach. Like I tried to focus for a few days, where I can see them, and then make a sit up, hide somewhere, and try to photograph. That's why I mentioned like mirrorless cameras and silent shooting. It helps a lot, reduce a lot this kind of disturbance, because even years back, like even everything went right, the moment actually you decide to take a picture was actually the moment when deer notice you and run away. And that was, for me, it was a game changer, like to have that option, and sometimes I don't like personally when deer looking at me, but I found many times uh, that they're getting interested as well about shape, about some new element. And I had many situations like I think there was two last year. There was last before deer route. There was September. I watched a group of hinds and with calves feeding, and I watched them for good, I think about altogether 4 hours, uh, and they were interacting between uh, themselves, and every few minutes they were coming back, raising their head, and watching exactly where I was sitting. Like I'm not sure is it because like I was in the deep shadows, covered with the camouflage net. I don't know what they saw, but definitely something. Usually is the front element of the lens. It doesn't matter is a bird or other animal, is always getting attention. Unfortunately, even if you are wear camouflage, uh, the front element will be something they are interested in. And uh, I was just waiting that they're gonna escape, but no, they've been there 4 hours, and even if they were checking, I just got lucky that this time that nothing happened. That I didn't disturb them. But yeah, like, and I got some shots like they actually watching me. And but I don't like you said, is when you see the picture when they're actually staring at you, uh, it's most likely they're gonna run away after stray, because that's the very last moment when you had a chance to take photograph, and then ev- you know everything gone. Yeah. But if we're talking about deer, I wish to on some on the nearest future make some album or book about you know deer from Killarney National Park, the local one, over the seasons. Uh, I have most of the photographs I'm looking for. However, like I'm missing some behaviors. I wish to take more photographs in the mountains. And I think this year, this deer route, I spent most of the time I will be in the mountains. A little bit more challenging, open space, very hard to hide, long distances as well. Uh, Deer are behaving, they are more shy. They don't see that many people as well there. Uh, but it's very rewarding as well, and it's different environment. And I want to focus about that. And I've been doing that last 2 years, more and more and more. But I try to gather selection of photos in the mountain environment with the some mountain settings. Uh, Otherwise, I don't have a pressure, to photograph anything like. wherever opportunity arise, I just trying to get the most. I was thinking about the camera trapping photography, not necessarily the nighttime, but even during the daytime. I found like when I was doing otters and pine martens over the time of the few months, I was struggling to get photograph them, but on the trail cameras, they were appearing on the places where I actually pick, to hide and photograph them. And I want to use camera traps to actually photograph them undisturbed, and not necessarily nighttime, because they are active daytime as well. So uh, I might do it in the next, I don't know, year or two. Mostly, I'm gonna focus on that.